The general manager of the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, is back here on the Rich Eisen Show, and it is good to see him here on this program. Good to see you, Brad. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Rich. How you doing?
I am great. I listen, I expected to see a lion on the screen, but not like the one over your right shoulder. My goodness, what is that? What do we have behind you? Is that Simba? Who is that? What is that? What do you got?
Yeah, I don't have a name for him yet, but it's just him or her yet. But I don't know. Just I had an idea and a thought of why don't we just have like a real lion in here and just kind of fill out the whole Serengeti of my entire office, and
I love it.
Really cool. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Is that the lion Dan Campbell wanted on the sidelines, Brad, behind you? Is that?
I think if he was allowed to have it, it would look very similar to.
Oh my gosh! Now he said he didn't really ask for it, right? Did he ever ask for?
No, it's he kind of made as a saying of if he could, but it wasn't an official, like confirmed ask.
But did you think for a split second, is he going to ask me to call the league as the general manager and executive vice president of the Detroit Lions, see if we can have a live lion on the sideline for a split second, Brad?
I mean, I would be all for it if we were allowed to do it, but I think we're not going to be able to get that one pushed through Congress.
I love it. Yeah. You can't. We don't need that line doing a hip drop tackle of some sort, on somebody. You know what I mean? So
No.
I love it. So let's just jump right into it, and I can help if you need help. How can we make sure Terrion Arnold is a confident young man? Can we help him on that front, Brad? What do you think? Can we help him on that?
You know what? I tell you what, every exposure that we had with him all through the entire process. I mean, not only in his play, which I actually would say the confidence level of his play, I thought, increased as the season went on. When you look at it from the beginning of the season all the way till how it ended, but just at the combine and just bringing him in as a top 30 and going to his pro day and just everything is just he's got that personality, and that's a trait that you just have to have at that position. And we've seen I think all of us have seen times where the confidence would waver, or you didn't feel as confident, or something unfortunate happens where the confidence just may get shot. But that's one thing that he is not lacking, which I think is very, very important for the position. And his response after he was chosen, it did not surprise me at all.
I was going to ask you about that, Brad, because I said on the air, actually on NFL Network's draft coverage, that with all due respect to all the other individuals in the green room, that if I had to choose one player to be drafted by your team to be introduced in front of that crowd that was that size and that lit for this moment, I would have chosen Terrion Arnold. Brad?
Yes. Yes. I would have. Well, I believe that shot right there that you're showing, because I was about to go to that. I saw that shot. Someone sent it to me the next morning or that morning. I don't know how many hours of sleep I got, but when I got up that morning, late morning, I guess, I saw that, and it literally it gave me chills. Like it made my hair stand up. Just the excitement that it brought, just how well our city did, the way our fans showed out. The league did a great job of hosting the draft, but then I do think the excitement that was wrapped up with the trade up, because they thought they were probably waiting until 29 or, possibly the fear of actually trading out of the first round. And then also, who the player was, which obviously I've been on record. I did not think that we would get in striking range of that player, but it worked out, and we were able to get in striking range. It was an awesome feeling.
Yeah, what was
he was ready for that moment for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, right? His first interception of his career was of my colleague Kaylee Hartung's microphone. Literally took it out of her hand, and then addressed the crowd, addressed the 200,000 people there. What were you thinking? And with Dan, I guess you were all watching from the draft room, Brad?
Yeah, we were all in the draft room. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. We try to, after we make all the calls, and the player talks to Dan, and talks to Sheila and everybody. We get all the logistics in line afterwards. We try to turn up and listen to the commissioner. Actually going to the podium and then making the pick, and then just kind of seeing the reaction and all that. But when he started going, we were kind of cheering in the room and
Mm.
clapping and all that. So I didn't hear everything that he said. I didn't really hear all the, hey, you guys got a star and I'm home and all that stuff. But I didn't really hear all the audio till the next day. But seeing it, I thought it was pretty cool.
Brad Holmes, right here on the Rich Eisen Show, general manager of the Detroit Lions. So, why do you think there were a few first-round trades as they were, Brad? What's your assessment now that you're a couple weeks removed from this draft?
You said fewer first
Yeah,
round?
there were just 5 in the first, and and 6 quarterbacks going in the first, dozen picks, 13 picks, is just crazy. It's nuts, Brad.
Yeah, I don't have a true answer. I think it just happened to be one of those drafts where, and it goes in waves, and it goes in waves every couple of years, and it goes in waves for a lot of different reasons where the strengths and the weaknesses at certain positions are spiked. I do think though this year, and you look at last year, the because of how the college football landscape is set up right now, that you're just getting less and less players just even coming out. The underclassmen would be the meat of the first 2 rounds. In the past, where it was spiking up to you'd have 100, 130, getting up to 150 underclassmen, where now, this past draft, we were down at like it was at 58 or something. So I think that's having an effect. But these offensive players that went that high, they didn't get pushed up. I mean, sometimes like these guys are getting pushed up. No, like I've always said, first of all, it's an offensive heavy draft. And I've always thought, man, if you're picking in the top 15, you're gonna get like a really good player. And it just happened to be it was one of those drafts where it was offensive heavy, but the ones that were kind of had those defensive players kind of starred, it helped them as well.
Well, you certainly found one last year in terms of an offensive player that high in Jahmyr Gibbs. How many more carries do you think, how many more touches can he have this year? Not to have you tell any tales out of school, but what a special player he is obviously turning into, Brad. So what's your plan for him year 2?
Yeah, I definitely would expect him to see more of a load. But it's David Montgomery will still be here too, and we love Dan and I love that 1-2 punch of him and David. So, but just speaking him specifically, him being a rookie last year, even when he kind of had some pops in that KC game in that opener. He was I was watching, I was like, he's still trying to get the feel of the game. Like he was playing very fast, and he actually kind of needed to slow down a little bit. And he openly admitted that, like I just had to slow it down a little bit. I was kind of going too fast, which he was, but once he got that sweet spot, and it was about right there. You kind of saw it a little bit in the Ravens game, which was unfortunately we didn't show up very well for that game. But that's when you started seeing some glimpses of I think it's coming, I think it's coming, and then obviously that Raiders game where I believe everybody would say it was a breakout. I think that's when you kind of saw okay, the game is slowing down for him. And now you're seeing exactly what you saw at Alabama, but I think he's got much more to offer in the passing game. So most likely you'll see an increase in that as well.
Brad Holmes here on the Rich Eisen Show, GM and Executive Vice President of the Detroit Lions. So you made Amon-Ra St. Brown the best paid receiver for about 24 hours, Brad, and it's just crazy the world in which we live. I'd love to lift up the hood and get your 2 cents on signing players before other teams signed their players at the same position. And there's one in your division that's looking for his bag in Minnesota. How much does that play into your thinking when you're signing your own?
Yeah, you're definitely aware of it for sure. And that's part of the like we always talk about both sides working very, very hard in terms of getting something done. We're aware of it. Their camps are aware of it, of what's looming, what's coming down the pipe. And but the bottom line is from our standpoint, we just want to do what's right by the player. And we want to make sure like, okay, St. Brown has earned this. And, whatever we can't control what happens after that, but we wanted to make sure that we did what we're supposed to do in the, paying him appropriately. But you try to do as best as you can. But you just can't control the future. And a lot of times, those other things that are looming, they're waiting for the first person to strike. But we shouldn't really punish the player that we're trying to reward because of what we can't control. So we just felt like he's an elite player. He's truly earned it. He represents and embodies everything that we're about as a franchise. So just really happy for him, but it's always going to be something coming behind.
No, I know my question is kind of infused with the possibility of you looking at somebody else's player and saying, I don't want to pay mine more, so I need to strike now. I understand that is the undercurrent of what I just asked, but you also want to pay more players of your own than just St. Brown. There is a salary cap here, right?
Yes.
So you need to strike at the right time. And I'd love to get your philosophy on when signing players, sooner rather than later, and how that all works as a puzzle piece for somebody like yourself, for a young team on the rise, if not Super Bowl ready this coming season, Brad.
Yeah, so we try to obviously there's a market for everyone, and we try to make sure that our players are paid appropriately within where we are forecasting what that market is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The other component that about the win part is not only the win and when the deal is going to happen with how we forecasted the market, but we got to look at it for the future as well. So that's the part that, yeah, you can do this. And I think we do an excellent job of we can pay this player this at this time, and it's advantageous for us. But at the same time, is this going to limit us for what we want to do next year and in the year after? And another one of our own players that are going to be due for an extension, and how much cash you're going to have available for free agency for the upcoming year. So all of that, there's a lot of moving parts, but all of that comes into play.
And what can you tell me how coach is talking about the level of expectation here based on last season, where technically, from the outside looking in, it could be said you arrived earlier than expected, but you arrived, you have. And now you're a division winner and an NFC championship game participant, leader at half. I mean, this is serious business now. And I turned around, the number of times I turned around from my seat as a Michigan grad, and seeing the number of Honolulu Blue jerseys was just overwhelming to me. So it's there. You've arrived. How are you all handling that, and coach in particular, Brad?
Yeah, we just want to continue on our same plan of just keep getting better every single year. And one of the things that we definitely don't want is to feel that, yeah, if the outside world feels there's an arrival, then that's what and we appreciate that, and it's appreciated. But at the same time, we still got to roll our sleeves up and earn every single thing. It's a whole new season. Nothing's going to be given to us, and nobody around here is going to be complacent or resting on their laurels of, oh, well, we did this last year, so we're definitely going to be this. The only thing that we expect is we expect to be better than we were the previous year, but we know that you got to earn it. And, we came up short last year, but it just fueled us to do more this upcoming year. And the message is clear. The guys are already aware about that in the locker room, that we have to do more than we did last year in order to get to where we want to go. So That is evident, and that's our goal right now.
All right, Brad. Listen, I say things on the air sometimes, and it sticks, and sometimes it doesn't. But Charles Davis was kind enough to reach out to you during the draft. You guys in the draft room were wearing what, Dan Campbell's jersey? Is that what you were wearing? All Dan Campbell's jerseys in the draft room?
Yes, and I can tell you that the signed versions of those black jerseys are en route
Thank
to
you,
use.
sir.
Yes.
Well, and we're going to auction them off for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It was you and it was Dan and Chris Spielman offering to sign these. And we're going to auction them off, and all the money's going to go to a great cause. You're a good man for that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I thought it was a great idea.
Thank you.
When Charles gave me the word, and I said, no problem. Absolutely. And yeah, they should be en route to you.
I appreciate that. And it delights me to see somebody like Chris Spielman making people in the state of Michigan happy about football. I think it's terrific that somebody with his background is comfortable doing that, Brad. You know, certainly over the last 3 years, drafting Aiden Hutchinson, it's all about winning. He's a pro, you know.
I was waiting for the Spielman jab to come at some point.
It's not a jab. It's a compliment.
It's not a jab,
it's a
but
compliment.
I mean,
It's a compliment.
It was subtle. It was subtle.
It's a compliment. You know, it's a compliment. Please send him my best at making people in the state of Michigan happy about football and how it's a sign of his true professionalism.
Yeah, no, Chris does a great job, and he wears a lot of different hats, but he is all about, making us better and do whatever he can to make the Lions better. But he does represent state of Michigan well. He's Detroit Lion through and through.
I love it. And my compliments to the artist again, over your shoulder. It really is beautiful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's a company that we have used that does a lot of the graphics around the building, but I didn't know if they were actually going to be able to pull it off. But I will say it did exceed my expectations when I just said, just a more of a lifelike real lion, and not only for the lion, but the rest of the office is more. You think you're actually walking the plains of the Serengeti.
You are definitely generally managing, man. If you're on top of the art and the roster and the team. Very impressive, Brad, but you knew that already. Thanks for the time. Greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Rich. Thank you.
No, and thanks again for the signed jerseys. It should raise a ton of money for St. Jude. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That is Brad Holmes, the general manager and EVP of the Detroit Lions, here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.